Hi everyone, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. Here I am. Today is Monday, February 6th, and we're going to take a look at how the moon will be moving this week throughout the heavens until we get up to the full moon on Friday, February the 10th. And the full moon will be in the evening at 7:33 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, at 22 degrees 28 minutes of Leo, the fixed fire sign of Leo. So this full moon should be visible in the evening sky. It rises in the evening. And the sign of Leo, the fixed sign of Leo, very fiery, very passionate, full of creativity and competitive energy, can be fiercely loyal and protective, even heroic. Traditionally rules the fifth house of the chart, and the fifth house covers things like children, pets, creativity, romance and dating, adventure, entertainment, competition, competitive sports, gambling. All those things may sound very diverse, but it all has to do with things that are pleasurable or fun in being here in our body, being able to share those pleasures with other people, any form of creativity artistically, and other types of creativity like cooking, gardening, dancing, photography, art. All of that falls under the fifth house of creativity and the domain of Leo. Leo can be a very showy sign that is very dramatic, has a dramatic flair, wants to be noticed when they walk in the room, seeks attention, wants to have fun with other people, wants to be able to entertain others. So the fifth house and the sign of Leo, you can take a look in your own natal chart and see where you have Leo on the outside edge of your own natal chart wheel to determine which house or area of life will be activated for you at this full moon on Friday. Everybody will have Leo somewhere in their chart, and then you can mix the energy or the overtones of Leo fifth house along with your own particular house. Now let's take a look at where the moon is today. And right now we have the moon in Gemini. So the week begins, or a work week for most people, begins with the moon in a mutable or changeable air sign that is very chatty and very social. Today's a good day for making plans, getting a lot done in terms of communication, running errands, taking care of paperwork, setting appointments, doing that sort of stuff. As we move forward through the week, let's see what tomorrow gives us on the 7th. The moon will enter Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign, and Cancer has a lot to do with need and feed. We look at things from the emotional perspective. We are more emotionally sensitive when the moon moves through Cancer. In Gemini, we're in our heads, and when the moon is in Cancer, we go into our gut, literally, our gut instincts and feelings. And food, a lot of people turn toward food and home and comfort and mother when the moon moves through Cancer. So those will be the concerns on the 7th, and again on the 8th, we still have the moon in Cancer. On the 8th, I notice here that we have a cardinal grand cross activated as the moon opposes Pluto in Capricorn, and we have an opposition going on between Jupiter in Libra and Uranus in Aries. So we have all of the cardinal points being activated, and things might be a bit tense on the 8th as we begin to feel the buildup of the full moon approaching. And I would recommend that the most that you can do to get through any stormy weather on the 8th is to be calm, go within, to consider other people's point of view, but also to firmly hold on to what is right for you and see if compromises can come out of it. This, of course, will fall apart and disintegrate as the moon continues to move on. And the moon, thankfully, moves quickly so that cardinal grand cross will not be there forever. Then as we get into the ninth, we have the moon in Leo. Makes a nice aspect on the ninth. It makes a trine over here to Venus conjunct Mars. Everybody's going to start thinking about Valentine's Day if they aren't already, but this in particular on the ninth, you might be thinking about Valentine's Day, what you're going to do for it, or if you have somebody to share it with. I think there will be a lot of first dates for people this year. That moon in Leo approaching full can bring emotional pressure to bear, and if you have an attraction to somebody that you've been suppressing, the courage to actually follow through and ask somebody out may come to the fore on the ninth. And you may have your answer and your plan set by the time you get to the full moon. I don't think people want to be alone this Valentine's Day, with Mars and Venus close to each other in the sign of Aries. Aries is very realistic, and it's about self. Aries says, I am. And we get to know ourselves through our relationships with other people. And Venus, of course, is feminine, Mars is masculine. This can be a lot of fiery passion going on at this time period. So some people may even be considering bringing a friendship to a more passionate level. We see this sextile going on with Mercury in Aquarius, making a sextile to Venus and Mars. So is there somebody who's a friend and you've been wondering, could it be more? Well, that friendship can suddenly change and become a more romantic partnership in a favorable way at this time if you take up the courage to go ahead and ask. And faint heart never won fair lady, and I know that that also can be true if we switch the genders around. Doesn't have to be fair lady, it can be anybody. And go ahead, be bold, ask a friend. If you're friends with somebody now and you wish it were more, go ahead and ask, see what happens. Full moon will be at 22 degrees. That would be a couple of hours ahead here. Let's see if we can bring this up and get it to the exact degree of the full moon. There we go. Full moon at 22 degrees of Leo, opposing the sun, 22 degrees of Aquarius. Change can always be present when Aquarius energy comes out, and the full moon can bring things to a head. We have a mystic rectangle in place here with the sun, Uranus, Jupiter, and the moon. And even though we have two oppositions here in this mystic rectangle, and perhaps the changes might not necessarily appear good, they are actually for the better. So whatever changes are taking place, this mystic rectangle here harnesses the energy. I always look at this particular geometric configuration of aspect patterns, or the exchange of energy between the involved planets, very much like four horses being hitched up to a wagon. And the way that they are hitched up actually allows four horses that might otherwise run off into four different directions or do battle against each other to be harnessed for a greater or stronger energy that actually contains two oppositions. And for anybody who studies some astrology, you would be aware that one of the most challenging aspect patterns to work with, either by transit or within your own natal chart, is an opposition. Have you ever held two magnets so that they repel each other? That's the feeling that a person can have when they have two planets that are opposing each other. Changes within relationship, or finding the compromise or balance and harmony with another person, may be what this opposition speaks of. And the change here, it may have to do with what somebody knows is true or correct, what the sun is revealing that is for the highest or best of many, or perhaps principles or idealism or the truth of something, versus what somebody else's convictions or personal ego might have to say about a situation. Yet there is good support here with the sextiles and the trines that do speak of whatever changes occur, they are for the better. So we do have some powerful energy here. We also have a grand trine going on with Saturn in Sagittarius, and whatever the changes are that are taking place, there can be a great deal of idealism behind it, or bringing out the truth and following the highest ideal. Whatever is best should come forward at this point in time with this grand trine. So take a look in your own life, particularly at these points. Look to see where you have Leo, Libra, Aquarius, and Aries energy within your own chart. What houses are being activated on this day? What areas of life might be going through changes, or that you have to look at and maybe create some changes for yourself? What things might you need to address in relationship? And if you saw something flash on the screen, I'm working with some subliminal software right now that I'm experimenting with. So it's not a glitch on your screen. It's actually a program I put on my screen for myself, because one of the things that I am wanting to change is how I handle my own businesses and my own consciousness. And I'm working from the subliminal level. So I'm using some of the Pisces energy going on right now to bring that into my own personal world. And then also look in your own natal chart, look to see where you have Saturn in Sagittarius transiting right now, where you have the Aries energy again and the Leo energy. So Saturn may show you where things are tough or require a deeper commitment, but we have a grand trine helping us out right now with upholding higher values or toughing something out, because there's that blue horizon ahead, or there's a higher path to be taking, or putting the work behind a zealous idea can actually create the change through our creativity, and putting our courage behind it is actually for the good, for the better. So that's how our week looks. That's what's coming up with the full moon. And I appreciate you all very much, and I hope you have a great week this week.